Good afternoon to all of you. So, our lesson for this week will be designing of company profile and newsletter. So, we are in module 7 already, designing of company profile and newsletter under ICT125 visual graphics design. So, why make a newsletter? There is one common communication tool that you can use to assure regular, repeat, consistent exposure for your organization's name, message, and information. It is the promotional newsletter. So, mostly newsletters are company based because newsletters are tools for your company to be able to present itself within the organization it belongs to or the customer that it wants to build with. So, a typical newsletter has its organization name and then the message, usually vision, mission, and a small part of history. Now, for creating a mailing list, your newsletter should be sent, of course. Why do you make newsletter if will not be known to all, if it will not be disseminated? So it is very important to create a mail list. Your newsletter should be sent to anyone with whom you want to inform about your organization and establish a regular relationship. So these people may include the employees or members, the current customer, of course, your prospective customers, your past prospects or your customers before, the vendors, this will be serve as your suppliers, your colleagues, not necessarily your competitors, but your colleagues in the marketplace. Consultants also, where they will be hired by your company to help boost your sales. They are gurus or other prominent people in the industry, and media, of course, that covers your organization or field. So mailing list, from the word itself, mailing list of emails. Okay. So number one elements of the newsletter is the nameplate. The nameplate is the banner on the front page of a newsletter that identifies the publication as its nameplate. The nameplate usually contains the name of the newsletter, possibly graphics or a logo, and perhaps a subtitle, motto, and publication information, including volume and issue per day. So the nameplate, of course, is like the title of your company. Another one is the body. The body of the newsletter is the bulk of the text, including or excluding the headlines and decorative text elements. It's the articles that make up the newsletter content. Number three, of course, is the table of contents. So right now, upon browsing the 1, 2, 3, you might be wondering what a newsletter is. Of course, it is some sort of some kind of a brochure. It is usually appearing on the front page. The table of the contents briefly lists articles and special sections of the newsletter and the page number for those items. So if your newsletter is 2 pages or less, you probably don't need a table of contents. Okay, so usually the table of contents is only applicable for pages more than 5, but if it's 1 or 2, no need for a table of contents. Number 4 is the masthead. The masthead is that section of a newsletter design typically found on the second page, but could be also on any page that lists the name of the publisher and the pertinent data. It may include staff names, contributors, subscription information, addresses, logo, and some sort of other content that may be needed into your newsletters. Number five is the heads and titles. Headline after the nameplate. The headline identifying each article in a newsletter is the most prominent text element. The kicker, often seen in newsletter design, the kicker is a short phrase set above the headline. The kicker can serve as an introduction or section heading to identify a regular column. The deck, the newsletter deck, is one of four more lines of text found between the headline and the body of the article. The deck elaborates or expands on the headline and topic of the accompanying text. So we have the heads and titles. In a newsletter design, there's is some sort of sections wherein you have to introduce your company in a way that it is not just about talking about your vision, talking about um, other than selling for the customers. Of course, your customers must understand your company in a form that you are informing them this is the background of our company. You may have to look around here that we are serious in doing business with you. So those are part of the newsletter. The subheads appear within the body of articles to divide the article into smaller sections. The running head, more familiarly known as the header, a running headline is repeating text, often the title of the publication, that appears usually at the top of each page or every other page in a newsletter design. The page number is sometimes incorporated with the running headline. Remember, use the banner only on the front page and running header on the pages. Okay, so you may be wondering now, upon knowing the different parts of the newsletter, well, where can we where can we build and make where can we draft our company newsletter? Okay, what is the best application software for this matter? Okay, some of you may think that it is Microsoft Word. Okay, uh, of course, Microsoft Word is okay with drafting and formatting text and images. However, okay, even if it consists of columns, the Microsoft Word has columns. Okay, so those columns, you may be thinking that you can use those columns, column one and column two, to divide the page one, because that is a brochure means. Okay, a brochure is not typically it is a whole bond paper that has divided into one. So that makes it's just like a brochure for promotional products. Okay. Now the best application software for this matter is of course the Microsoft Publisher, because Microsoft Publisher has its pre-designed, and it consists of series of templates where you can choose different designs for your brochures. Okay. So Microsoft Publisher, it is a sister of Microsoft Word, PowerPoint, Excel. Okay. So I think you typically knows that there are only three in line for the Microsoft application softwares. But I think there are so many. Okay. Aside from Microsoft Publisher is also Microsoft Visual, is usually used for floor plans. But this one, I am suggesting that if you want to make a brochure, use Microsoft Publisher. Okay? I think this one is pre-downloaded if you can download it over the internet. But if you purchase the licensed application software for the whole Microsoft products. Okay, Microsoft Office suite for that matter. Microsoft Office is there is a bundle for Microsoft um, Publisher. Number six, of course, is page numbers. Page numbers can appear at the bottom, top, bottom, or sides of pages. Usually, page one is not numbered in the newsletter because that one is your main page. Bylines indicates the name of the author of an article in a newsletter. The byline commonly appears between the headline and start of the article, prefaced by the word by, although it would also appear at the end of the article. So bylines are optional and not necessary. For the continuation lines, when articles span two or more pages, a news article continues or uses continuation line to help readers find the rest of the article. Continuation heads, when articles jump from one page to another, continuation heads identify the continued portion of the article. The continuation headlines, along with jump lines, provide continuity and cue the reader as to where to pick up reading. Jump lines, also called continuation lines, typically appear at the end of the column. Okay, now, class. So a while ago, I said that you can use Microsoft Publisher for the newsletters. Okay. Now, how about, ma'am, the company profile? Okay, for the company profile, usually companies make use of Microsoft PowerPoint for the company profile. Okay, you can you can be able to download different series of templates for the company profile. So if ever that you will be hired, of course, you are aspiring graphic designers for this matter because you took ICT strand and are taking up this subject, which is the visual graphics design course, is okay. As an aspiring graphics design, you must know that there are a series of templates available over the internet, some of which are free, some of which are pre-designed, some of which are with subscription cost. However, as a visual graphics designer, is you can design on your own from the scratch. You just have to use the different, okay, different images, different banners for that matter, different images, the images for PNG. There is a main difference between a JPEG and a PNG. It is when you are designing, okay, when you are designing something, particularly brochures, particularly in PowerPoint, particularly when it comes to Microsoft Word, always go for PNG. Why? Because it is very easy to design or to integrate images that has not, okay, that has not a white background in it. Kasi kung mapapansin nyo, if you are downloading an image, for example, you download a clip art, pag dinownload mo siya at nilagay mo siya sa Word or PowerPoint or brochure for that matters, makikita mo nakabox yung image. Okay? So, hindi siya magandang i-blend dun sa text if meron siyang box na white dun sa image. However, if you want to create an awesome presentation, word for that matter, is you must go for the PNG file. Why PNG? Because the background of the image is transparent. There are some, and there are very, very many, okay, many website over the internet. You just have to click PNG and then what image you want to download in PNG. And then upon entering into Google, you could easily see a different website that offers a stock photos for PNG. Okay, so that is a tip. Kasi yun din ang ginagawa ko. I usually go for PNG rather than JPEG because of the transparent background. Okay? It is very easy to blend with the text. Okay, so that is a tip. Number nine is the enzymes. A dingbat or printer's ornament used to mark the end of a story in the newsletter is an ensign. It signals the reader that they have reached the end of the article, and these are optional. The pull quotes, of course. Okay, so this is just a quote wherein, for example, ano the company that brings you the quality in terms of this one. So that is a quote used to attract attention, especially in long articles. A pull quote is a small selection of text pulled out and quoted in a larger typeface. These are optional. For example, your company is in line with shoes. Okay, your pull quote is comfortable is our utmost concern. Parang ganun yung mga full quotes niya. So photos, of course, without a photo in a newsletter, it is so much bland and boring. So a newsletter design may contain photographs, drawings, charts, graphs. Yun na yung, that's what I mentioned a while ago. Go for images, go for drawings, go for clip arts that is in PNG or transparent background. Mugshots, the most typical people photograph found in a newsletter design is the mugshot, more or less straight to the camera, head and shoulders picture. For the caption is a phrase, sentence, or paragraph describing the contents of an illustration such as a photograph or chart. The caption is usually placed directly above, below, or the side of the picture as it describes. For the mailing panel, newsletters created as self-mailers need a mailing panel. This is the proportion or the portion of the newsletter design that contains your returning address, mailing address of the recipients, and the postage. Okay, so what are the contents to include other than what I have mentioned a while ago? So among the items you may include in your newsletter are news, tips, how-to, previews, reports, the people. Okay. New members, new hire, awards, profile, human interest stories, the milestone of your company, your accomplishments, publications, photos with captions that might um, grab attention from your readers, the interviews, Q&A of the member or official, for example, some other concerns, columns such as presidents or chairpersons columns, community affairs, gimmicks like quizzes, trivia, cartoons. So those are just the content to include in the newsletter. So what now is the process for publishing? You can produce your newsletter using Microsoft Office, which provides a variety of free templates for newsletters. In addition to the templates that come with Microsoft Office, you can download and add additional free templates online. There are so many. When your newsletter is complete, you must save it as PDF file so that it can be emailed. Why PDF file? Because saving it in a PDF file, the formatting is intact. Saving it in a Word and then sending it out to your customer is, there are some instances where the format upon receiving by your customer or by your prospective readers is, it might be distorted. The formatting might be distorted. Saving it in a PDF file, your file is intact. Your formatting is intact. So sending your newsletter, once you determine who your readers are, you must compile an email list. This is very important. This is just like this is just like a phone book of the company. The organization you create the newsletter for should be able to provide this. Oftentimes, they will just have one email address that forwards messages to the entire organization. Okay. Okay, so there you have it. This is now our parts of the newsletters and company profile. So this one is very important since um, providing profile for your company is one of the tasks of the graphics design department. Okay. So if you have any question, I might be able to answer those um, at the chat box. Please raise your question to the chat box. So next meeting, I'm gonna show you some. Okay, I'm gonna show you some um, samples of company profile and newsletters next week. So today, this week, this will be our topic for this week. Designing. What are the different contents of a newsletter? There you have it. Next week will be for the samples. Okay, you may now raise your question in the chat box and I will be able to answer all of those one by one.